Hello students, hope all of you are well at home. Today we are going to discuss biology for standard 9, chapter pollination and fertilization, part 2. Here it is, class 9, chapter pollination and fertilization, part 1, not part 2. First of all, we should focus on the definition of pollination. What is pollination is? The definition is pollination in general, remember, in general the definition is transference of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of same or different flower. That means same flower, pollen grain dropping on the same flower stigma, or pollen grain dropping on the different flower stigma in the same plant. Means different flower may be in the same plant, or different plant, or different flower may be in the different plant of the same species. I mean one kind of plant, not different kind of plant. So this is the definition of the whole process included. So this definition should be carefully written, and if generally asked what is pollination, this definition should be written. Next we go on to how many types of pollination are there. There are two basic types of pollination: self-pollination, cross-pollination. But there are some speciality. Let us see types. Pollination, two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination. Now how should we define self-pollination? Definition is transference of pollen grains, as is before what you have written as general definition, similar, from the anther of a flower, to the stigma of the same flower or different flower in the same plant. That means self-pollination means not the flower only, but also the whole plant. Myself means my whole body, not only my hand. This is the point. Same plant is called self-pollination. So this specific type of definition has to be carefully noted. This is self-pollination. But self-pollination can also be of two types. What are the two? Number one, two types: autogamy. Autogamy, auto means self, and gamy means pollination, means reproduction. This happens when the transfer of pollen grain takes place from the anther of a flower to the same flower, stigma of the same flower. That is autogamy. One flower sufficient, process over. Second type is geitonogamy. Spelling you note: Geitonogamy. Geitonogamy. This means different flowers but in the same plant. As I told you before, the self means the whole plant. So one plant do not bear only one flower, isn't it? Many flowers are there in the plant. Suppose pollen grain from one flower dropped on the stigma of another flower in another branch of the same plant. That is also self. So this is called geitonogamy. Different flower but in the same plant. So these are the two types of self-pollination. The next thing is cross-pollination. It is also technically called as allogamy. Allogamy. First of all, we note the definition of it. Same beginning: transference of pollen grains from the anther of a flower in one plant to the stigma of a flower in another plant, another flower in another plant of the same species. You follow? Transference of pollen grains from anther of a flower in one plant to the stigma of a flower in another flower. Stigma of another flower, that was okay, another flower in another plant of the same species. Now this line doubled because if you do not mention of the same species, it may happen that interpreted that the pollen grains of China rose dropping onto the stigma of mustard plant. That will not be pollination at all. So it will be same species, same kind, different plant, same plant. This is cross pollination. Next we concentrate on self pollination now. Self pollination when takes place? What are the conditions necessary for self pollination? First condition necessary is bisexuality, means both stamens and carpels should be present. How stamens, carpels present? Bisexual flower, you studied in flower chapter. Some of the flowers are bisexual or complete flowers. So the bisexuality can also be of two different conditions. If the flower is bisexual, suppose China rose is a bisexual flower. Mustard is a bisexual flower. So if the flower is bisexual, then both the stamens and carpels are present. And if that happens, this condition, self-pollination will take place. Okay, both should be there in the flower. But the second condition is a plant having both male and female flowers. I mean, if you pick up one flower, it is either male or female. I mean, it is incomplete flower or staminate flower or pistillate flower. But interestingly, one particular plant is having both kind of flowers in it. These kind of plants are called monoecious plants. In case of monoecious plant, self-pollination is possible. Example, maize. In maize plant, what happens? The male flowers are at the top in the form of a crown, where dusty pollen grains fly off, and female flowers are at the bottom, purely female, which is actually called a cob. These female flowers receive the pollen grains. So this condition, monoecious condition, is also okay for self-pollination. Second condition is homogamy. It's a very important one. Anthers and stigma mature at the same time. Mature at the same time. If anther is mature, stigma not mature, question does not arise, no further development will take place, pollination we cannot say this. Anther also mature, stigma also mature. When both mature, then the process will take place, and then you can call that it is self-pollination. It should mature at the same time. It is called homogamy. Third criteria is cleistogamy. Cleistogamy is what? Very interesting. When flowers never open, some of the nature is so beautiful that some of the plants bear certain structures inside which the flowers bloom, but we do not see them to bloom. Inside it is there forever. So that is called cleistogamy. But you do not think that the flowers are not maturing. They mature, they pollinate, and when they pollinate, then it is in the same structure. So it is self-pollination. So cleistogamy is another condition. And bud pollination is the condition that stamens and stigmas mature before the opening of the bud. It is similar to cleistogamy, but difference is it will open, the flower will open. In the condition in the beginning, when the flower is in bud stage, the structures inside are present. They remain immature in general, but in this case, they become mature before the flower opens. Okay, and within that closed condition, the pollination is done. So it is self-pollination. After that the flower opens. This is the condition of bud pollination. Example pea, wheat, rice. So these are the two types of pollination. Now we focus on to the advantage and disadvantage. We need to understand each point. First of all, we come on to advantages of self-pollination. First point, it is sure and certain. Why it is sure and certain? Because the maturity of all the holes, I mean Androecium, Gynoecium specifically who perform the process of fertilization, they mature. So chance is sure. Secondly, this is maturity. Secondly, vicinity. Vicinity means closeness. The stamens and carpels are very close to each other. In a flower, they are very close to each other. Or if it is not very close to each other in a flower, it is in the same plant, so it's very close. Chance of loss is minimum, not there. So it is sure and certain. Parental characters retained. The previous parent plant's character, which good character we like to have again, is retained. That is very important and interesting for self-pollination. Economical, because no wastage of pollen grain. No wastage of pollen grain. Why there will be wastage? They are close, no? Very close. So wastage does not occur. This is the economical one. And when wastage does not occur, it will save energy for the plant. Similarly, it is also economical because they do not require to produce bright color, scent, nectar and all this. Each kind of characteristic, quality, color, scent, nectar requires lots of energy for the plant. When these are not required, so energy is saved. And energy preserved means energy is saved. So that means it is economical. These are the advantages. Disadvantages what? This repeated process reduce the quality. Any self-pollination, year after year if you do, the quality reduces. It is naturally also you will observe this thing happens to plants. And also reduce vigor. Vigor means viability, ability to survive. The plants become weak. That is a disadvantage. Defective characters retained, repeated. As there was good quality, that was good characters retained, defective characters were also there in a plant. Nobody, no individual in the whole world is perfect. All the characteristics are good. It is not possible. Some defects were there and those defects also will be repeated. And lastly, the most importantly, no new varieties are produced. This is the most disadvantageous condition for self-pollination. What are the advantages of cross-pollination? Here it is. Advantages of cross-pollination. First of all, the results healthier offspring. They are becoming very strong because they are forming by combination of the parent plants. Each individual has got some weaknesses, some strength. If the strength getting together, then they will be more stronger. Their daughters and sons will be more stronger, and that happens in each individual. So they become much healthier. Offsprings means new generation plants, new baby plants, new generation plant that is there. Second point is new variety produced. This is the most important advantage for cross-pollination. New variety. Why new variety? Because two different individuals' qualities are mixed. Cross-pollination. Now, one individual containing one quality, another individual containing another quality. When they are cross-pollinated, they are getting together. So a combination of characters give them new variety. Third point is seeds are more viable. Means they are able to survive in hard conditions, survive from the diseases, survive from the adverse conditions. Harsh condition of nature, they can survive. And finally, abundant amount of seeds produced. There are always chances of loss of seeds. But since they produce huge amount of seeds, some of the seeds are always grow up. So this is advantage.
What are the disadvantages? It is also not of having less disadvantages. They also have disadvantages. The process is not sure. Why not sure? Two things are there. Number one, they depend upon agents of pollination. Insects, wind, water and other animals, etc., etc. If they do not come in proper time, if they do not blow in proper time, then all the pollen grains will be wasted. So, and not only wasted, it is do not take place. The pollination never can take place. So surety uncertain. Agents are uncertain. Second point is, it is uneconomical. Why uneconomical? Because large number of pollen grains needed. Why large number of pollen grains needed? Large number of pollen grains needed because some of the pollen grains will be wasted only. Some of the pollen grains will reach. So if one plant produces 100, 50 will be lost and 50 will remain. Because of that, large number of pollen grains has to be produced and that requires a lot of energy. So uneconomical. Uneconomical again because they have to produce color, nectar, scent. Why they are producing color, nectar, scent? Because they have to attract insects. They have to attract animals. And they will come, they will take out their food and then only they will transfer the pollen grains. That's why they have to produce this. Each kind of thing's production requires energy. And this energy is uneconomical. And lastly, many good characters of the parent plants are lost. Similar to the condition when defective characters are removed. In the same way, good characters may also be removed. We may not get that. Good characters also can be removed. So that is also another bad effect of the process of cross-pollination. So keep up to this discussion of pollination and fertilization part 1. Next video we will discuss about the next part of it. Thank you very much.